When was the first time you realized, oh, people know me from TV?
As soon as the show aired. Like,
really?
David and I felt like as soon as the show aired the next day, I felt like a difference of people just like,
second guessing.
You're like, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah.
No, like people would like talk to me. And I was just like, whoa. Like the fact that the show had such a quick impact on the city, obviously owning Manhattan. We live in Manhattan, but like still within like 48 hours, like people are just like, no, like,
yeah,
wow, like cool, congrats. Like you killed it. Like it just had a quick effect, especially in the city.
Join me, Sasha Pieterse, on Women in the Nude, Season 2, where we bear it all except for our bodies. Leave that to your imagination. Welcome to Women in the Nude. Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
So Jessica Markowski is with us. She is very fashionable, very stylish, and also a really, really cool human.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.
No, I'm so happy to be here. Excited to do a podcast, you know? Yeah. I'm very known for the podcast world thanks to owning Manhattan. So it's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
It's actually the first thing I was going to ask about because I love real estate and I think that has to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I live for it. I breathe it, think about it, dream about it, have nightmares about it, but I love it.
All the things. All the things.
So the reason why I'm actually here in California is because I have a $21 million property in Pasadena. So before coming here, we had a property tour that me and my team leader, Brandon Bogart, flew in for.
Nice.
And, you know, now I get to sit and relax and chit chat with you.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Well, super fun.
Yeah.
And something that, you know, I feel like people would just want to be in your shoes to experience that.
Yeah.
How does it feel to do that on camera? Did you find it? Did they find you? Like, what made you want to do it on camera?
Yeah, so Ryan Serhant actually reached out to me. He literally DM'd me and he said, hey, Jess.
Slid into your DMs.
Slid into my DMs. Yeah, believe it or not. He said, hey, Jess, do you have a chance to chat? And I try to be all cool. I'm like, I don't know if this is real. Mm-hmm. Because A, he's such a like celebrity and he's writing to me. And B, I thought like maybe this is a scam. Maybe somebody hacked his account. So it could have been either way. But I really wanted to keep it cool, calm, and collected. So I said, yeah, what's up? And so he's like, what's your number? I want to call you, whatever. We like jumped on a quick call. I'm like, this is definitely his voice. He's definitely talking to me. And he mentioned that he would love for me to join his company, but you know, of course, we would have a meeting and discuss and see if I would be a great fit. We right away clicked, met on his second floor in the conference room. And he right away was like, I would love for you to join my company. And also, I have a surprise. I would love for you to be a cast member on the show.
Oh, that's so exciting.
I know.
That is super, super cool.
I know. I'm living the dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about living in Manhattan?
I mean, I grew up in New York. So for me, like, New York City is all I've ever known. I'm originally from Brooklyn. I went to middle school and high school in Manhattan, so I've always loved it. I just never had an opportunity to really like live in the city. But when I turned 21, I was like, yeah, it's time for me to move into the big city. Even though it's like a 15-minute, drive in. But I always like loved the hustle and bustle of what Manhattan really had to offer and has to offer. And yeah, ever since I turned 21, I never left. Like I always wanted to be in the city. Yeah. I love busy. Like busy makes me happy. You know, some people are like, I love quiet. I love the suburbs. Like that's not me.
I love being in the city for multiple reasons. One, because nobody talks to you.
Yeah.
I like that there's so many people around. But if you do talk to somebody, they're friendly. I feel like that's opposite in LA.
What do you mean people don't talk to you? You're like a mega celebrity. People talk.
Oh,
like,
no.
People stalk you all the time.
No, New York's different. They just, they don't care. And like tourists, that's different. But like people that live in New York just don't care. And I love that about them.
Yeah, because everybody's just like chasing the dream and chasing work. And, like.
Everybody uses the subway. Like it's just, it's different. And I really, really enjoy that about New York.
Yeah. I think like right now, it's funny you mentioned subway. I always take the subway. I'm such a subway girl, like thick and through. Like I don't care. I love it. It's convenient. But it was like my first time like realizing last week I'm on the subway. And I'm coming back from shooting Confessions with, because we're filming season 2. And I'm like, I don't want to take the Uber. I just want to take, the subway will get me to Tribeca quicker. And a group of like NYPD cops like see me and they're like, you're from that show, right?
Weird.
I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh my God. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. I'm like finishing filming this show. I'm fully glammed. My face is like caked in makeup. And all these, like literally there was like 5 of these cops and they're just like, we know you, like, oh my Manhattan, da, da, da. And they're like,
so crazy.
They got off the subway And they're taking pictures of me sitting. I'm like, ah.
It's weird.
So it's just such a funny moment, you know? Like people don't notice you, but sometimes they do.
Yeah. What was that like? When was the first time you realized, oh, people know me from TV?
As soon as the show aired. Like
really?
David and I felt like as soon as the show aired the next day, I felt like a difference of people just like,
second guessing.
You're like, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah.
No, like people would like talk to me. And I was just like, whoa. Like the fact that the show had such a quick impact on the city, obviously owning Manhattan, we live in Manhattan, but like still within like 48 hours, like people are just like, no, like, wow, like cool, congrats. Like you killed it. Like it just had a quick effect, especially in the city.
I think, social media in general, like everything is just digested, I think, so much faster than it used to be.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. Do you like it? Is there any part of you that's like, sometimes you wish you don't, like, are there times where you're like, oh, I just came from the gym. I don't necessarily want to be recognized, anything like that?
I think I was more cautious in the very beginning because it was just like an overflow of everybody like recognizing me just because it was like fresh information.
Yeah.
But I always like made sure like I had my hair and makeup done. Like God forbid I go to Trader Joe's like not looking cute. But the more, weeks go by, I'm like, like accept me without makeup and like accept me with having my hair like up looking crazy. Like it's okay. People could notice me, could not. Like sometimes they don't notice me when I don't try. So, I don't know. I just don't like think about it as much, But I know that the first 2 weeks I was like really heavy. Like I was very hard on myself to try more. Yeah. Because I'm like, people know who I am. I need to look a certain way. But
it's exhausting.
Yeah. Now I'm like sweatpants, Trader Joe's.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember being like that exact way of thinking. Like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine to be a human. It's everybody, you're not glammed all the time and that's okay. And I think what's nice about that is that it takes the pressure off, not just you, but other women too. Like, oh, okay, yeah. She's not just like this incredibly glammed person. She's also like a really cool human, down to earth person. And I think that's nice to see that contrast of both. Yeah.
Yeah, so the streets of Tribeca definitely see me in sweatpants all the time.
Yeah. You've done so much in your career. It's not just real estate, model, entrepreneur. You've worn a lot of hats. Mm-hmm. How do you define yourself? Because I feel like people get put in boxes. Like, what do you feel defines you?
I don't like to be put in a box. I mean, I do know I wear a lot of hats. I think I'm just like an entrepreneur. I do a lot of different things, I do real estate predominantly. I do social media. I do so many things. So I can't necessarily like label myself one thing. And as I'm growing quickly, especially thanks to the show, I just have all these different opportunities that I'm like accepting or denying and I'm growing. But I wouldn't label myself in just one way, but predominantly real estate, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I like entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Then I could like dabble in so many different things,
Yeah. So. Yeah. Definitely don't ever limit yourself.
No.
Yeah. And you don't seem like you are.
Never. Sky's the limit.
In general, never limit yourself.
Never.
I feel like what's so cool about where we're at with social media, and obviously it's a double-edged sword, but, building a brand has become something that is a huge asset. And it's not a negative. I think it's a positive. I know in my industry, like on my side, a lot of actors had so much objection to that. And I think mainly the reason is we're so used to playing a character. And with social media, you are exposing yourself in so many different ways to who you are. Yeah. And there is no, you might be like pretending, but at the same time, it's like a reflection of just you, not a character. And I think that was a hard thing for a lot of people to swallow on my side of the industry. But as far as like what you're doing, you're building a brand. Like you are your brand. And that is really exciting. Yeah. I'm sure exhausting at times because I definitely feel exhausted at times. But do you feel like that is something that you are excited to do long term? I just feel like it's so interesting to be in this spot in this time as far as, even Gen Z, like they know nothing else other than this. Where do you see that going? It's obviously a marketing tool, but do you want people to know about you always, if that makes sense? Yeah.
To your point about like building a brand, like I've always built a brand, right? From the time where I was just a model, I always like tried to like become better to get more jobs. Or when, I I don't know, had a job, and I just like, I was always building myself to just grow. So I think like we all as individuals, like we're always building a brand to get further, you know, and it's not just real estate. It's not just being an actress or a model or a doctor. You're always building your brand to get more opportunities or just to grow to be a better doctor.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we're definitely in agreement on that. I think that it's a tool that you're not utilizing properly if you don't get on board.
Yeah.
And it's a privilege in so many ways to be able to get yourself out there in that capacity. And I'm excited for the future, like even with my son. But what I will say, I feel could be difficult, and I'm worried about this for him because he hasn't had a choice to like be in the public eye. I worry about getting to the point with him where I talk about like, you might not be able to trust everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard. I feel like with the brand space, the public eye, social media, it's that he's not going to have the opportunity to kind of establish his own relationships by himself because inevitably he might be thinking twice before somebody is his friend in high school. Like, is there an ulterior motive, or do they like me for me? And I know that's like talking about my kid, but I know that I feel that in some ways. It's like whether it's social media or business or agendas, I feel like people naturally have agendas and trying to figure out what's different between something that's genuine and building together. There's nothing wrong with networking and building together, but like there are people that slide into your DMs and sometimes they're good-natured and sometimes they're not. How do you navigate new relationships and friends?
I think I just like learn as I go. You know, there's no way of knowing who's like there with great intentions or not. You know, I think people like show their colors with time. You could notice it and recognize it in like a minute or in like 5 months or 5 years, right? Like, you just never know, but you just have to trust your gut sometimes. And sometimes I catch it quick and I'm like, okay, I'm out. Or like sometimes I get heartbroken, you know? But I remember that even in middle school, like I trusted a girl and like she did me wrong. And, we were always like navigating life and
absolutely
seeing who's there to support you or to betray you. So,
yeah. And I mean, that will never stop to whatever capacity, relationships always evolve and change. How do you feel like, or do you feel like your boundaries have changed since getting, recognized a lot? Do you feel like you've had to like set more boundaries on like an emotional level in your relationships? Do you feel like you need to and haven't yet?
Do I set boundaries?
I've always struggled with it, by the way. Like I've made it a priority now, but not giving people everything all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to not like people please.
Yeah. I think people like know that I'm like extremely busy right now. So like there's only so much like time or effort I could put into everything. Especially my friends, they understand that like I'm not getting back to them in 2 days, but they understand it's because I'm like overwhelmed. I'm flying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So yeah, I mean, to set boundaries, I don't know. I have a hard time like setting boundaries, but I think people just understand that I'm just like in a very like, I'm on a peak right now. And like people understand that I'm just like overwhelmed and busy.
You're busy and booked.
Okay. I'm busy and booked. Exactly.
It's great.
People who get it, get it. People who don't.
Very fair.
But
Absolutely
do I set
fair.
boundaries? It's hard for me too. I'm like an open book. I'll take a call with a friend for an hour or like, I can't set boundaries. I don't know how to. I can be like, okay, can't talk, bye. I don't know. I can't do that.
What does self-care look like to you?
2 things. I love to go and work out. It just like makes me feel like more like just relaxed, endorphins. It puts me in like a good headspace. I also love saunas, thanks to my fiance David. Like he introduced me to it. Like he does it every day. That also like just relaxes me. And so good for you. So those combination of those 2 things like are my like self-care moments.
Yeah, which is those are really great self-care things to lead into.
Yeah.
I feel that way about Pilates, and I love saunas, and I need to do that more.
Yeah, it's so good for you.
It's so healthy.
So good for your skin and everything else and your body inside out.
Speaking of your fiance, David.
Yeah. Have you heard of him? I feel like
just, once or twice.
Just 2 podcasts.
Yeah. Once or twice. David is a great guy. I'm not just saying that because he's in the room. We don't have to keep that on record, but we could. You're both very ambitious, which is awesome. Yeah. Do you feel like your paths align as far as timeline goes? I know that's like really difficult and 2 people are very busy. Like how do you prioritize your relationship when everything is so crazy?
We always find time for each other. I mean, we see each other every day. And like, I know both David and I are so busy. When I look at his calendar, I'm like, he barely has time, but I understand he's creating something so big. And, he knows I'm also really busy, like working on the show and working on all the listings and all over the place. But we all come together at the end of the day and we just get to relax and watch TV and just chit chat if we need to. Or sometimes we just like binge watch and just relax, Yeah. Or I make him some steak. Like, I don't know, like we do a little bit of everything. So we find time for each other. There's not a moment where we don't.
That's great. Yeah, I think with my husband, we're also in business together. Mm-hmm. It's another layer that we've added to our relationship. Mm-hmm. We've known each other for so long, but I will say some of the most relaxing moments that I have with him is literally not saying anything and just being present together. Yeah. Like just
cuddling,
decompressing. Yeah, some sort of physical contact, just like a no pressure zone, which I think is also sometimes just a self-care in itself.
Yes.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
That is really exciting.
You. August 9, the big day.
Yeah, that's coming up quick. Wedding planning mode.
Oh my God.
I know, sorry.
I'm like, you're reminding me. Thank you.
I know. How has that been?
It's been, honestly, like, I know I'm not a bridezilla type. Like, I'm so, like, relaxed and I approach it like very mellow, I'm not like, we need this and we need that. But again, I do like really nice things. So we're having a venue at Metropolitan Club. Like I already organized that. It's on the Upper East Side. We already booked the DJ. We are having the florist come on the 1st, so like in 2 days. What else do we have lined up? The DJ's coming to view the venue as well. Like I'm working as quickly as I can. We sent
you're
save
busy.
The dates.
You're busy and booked.
Yeah, and like luckily we're already like finished filming, so like now I have like more time to like devote into planning the wedding. But I'm not putting crazy pressure on myself about it. Like everything is gonna work out. Yeah. I have the wedding dress first and foremost. Gali Alahayev is designing mine, which is like really nice. I got to meet the actual designer and he like dressed me, measured it on me, and I'll be the first one to wear this particular piece, which is exciting.
That's really special.
Yeah, I'm like the first bride to ever wear it. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm not stressed though. Good. Watch me be stressed next month, but like for now I'm like,
but that's allowed.
Everything is fine. We have 4 months, like no big deal. But maybe when we hit 3.
When did you guys get engaged? How long has it been?
It's been about a year.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think that's a good amount of time to plan a wedding. We planned ours in 2 years. Like we took our time.
Yeah.
And that felt nice. Same thing. Like I was like, I don't want to be stressed about this. Yeah. have been after as well, a bridesmaid so many times that I feel like I learned from all of my friends' mistakes.
Yeah.
It's like, don't want that, don't want that, don't want that. And that,
good for you.
That helped a lot. Like we didn't have a bridal party. We didn't do like, we spent a week in Ireland and
did you have bridesmaids and everything or no?
Nope.
Like just you guys?
We had flower girls.
Cool. Cute. That's what we plan to do too.
Yeah. And that was a great choice. There wasn't that many people and it just really felt like a family reunion and our closest friends coming together. Cute. It was really special. But that was my thing. I was like, this is a moment that it's about us.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stressed about it. I want to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
And that felt really important to me. But ironically, my dress was the last thing.
No way.
Unintentionally.
Wow. Why?
This gives every bride anxiety. It was supposed to be in the making and being designed.
And you didn't make it.
Then close friend lied to me about it.
What?
And I was
wait,
it was
who's the friend?
Like another story for another day.
Okay.
2 weeks before I'm supposed to leave for my wedding. 2 weeks before. I don't have a dress.
Shut up.
I'm in New York for press, ironically.
Yeah.
And another friend of mine was like, this is ridiculous. Like, you need to get, everything was planned to the very like last detail except for the dress. He's like, everything is planned. This is ridiculous. You need to go and see if this dress even exists. So we run to the designer, which is Christian Siriano.
Yeah,
Love him.
Yeah.
He knew I wanted a wedding dress.
Yeah.
He didn't know my sizes, the date of my wedding. He didn't know what I wanted. Nothing. The dress did not exist.
What?
It's literally like a movie. And so he was like, well, I have this skirt that I was making for somebody else's dress done. They're not getting married anymore, so it's just sitting here. Let's put it on you and see.
If it fits.
And it fit, but he's like, I'm going to have to make a top. And like, there was a lot happening that week for him. He's like, but I think I can do it. So he measured me for the top. We lived in LA at the time. And so my amazing makeup artist who lives in New York and LA, she goes back and forth, carried it on the plane. And I had no idea if it was going to need alterations. I tried it on 3 days before my wedding and it fit perfectly.
Perfect.
It would never have been a style that I would have chosen myself. But it was perfect. I loved it so much.
Awesome.
Like it was
everything worked out.
Everything worked out, but the anxiety,
friend.
Honestly, the amount of my policy, no stress. And I just had a mental block that like, no, of course it's fine. Like that person wouldn't like they've got it handled. Like,
why would they do such a thing though?
Drugs. But ultimately that worked out. So everything works out.
Wow.
But yeah, anxiety there. But honestly, the best thing. Like I'm really excited for you.
Out. Yeah,
I'm super excited for you.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's an awesome part of life.
Yeah.
That chapter is a really special one, and I'm so used to calling my husband now. Every now and then it's a weird moment, but I'm like, I don't feel old enough to have a husband, and then I'm like, oh wait, I definitely am.
I've been
and I have a 4-year-old.
I've been calling him a husband for like a year already. I'm like, husband.
Yeah,
even though like we're not even married yet, but I do it.
Yeah, that's good.
Like I feel like we're already married, but we're not yet. But we like act like a married couple. So
nothing.
It'll be light
that.
work. It'll be light.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, not much changes.
No.
Taxes. It's a benefit.
Okay, cool. Yay, save some money.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's the only benefit?
No, I'm just messing with you. Totally not. I'm totally messing with you. But yeah, it's great. It's great to be able to, I don't know, partner.
Just have a partner.
For life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What do you feel like is... I guess, what is the ideal property for you to sell? Sorry, I'm stuck on real estate because I love real estate and I find it fascinating. What do you like? Obviously, it's nice to have a large, sum of money to market. But what do you look for when you're trying to sell a house?
I mean, I love the challenge of selling any opportunity that
you're
comes
like
my
selling
way.
Anything.
Like, give me anything, and we will sell it. I don't know. I think I love the challenge, like any property I have, like I'm determined to sell it as quick as I possibly humanly can. So there's no apartment too big or maybe too small. I don't have the time, but like I will take anything. I think it's like the immigrant mentality of mine. Like you're just happy for any opportunity. So yeah, I'm not like pigeonholed on like I only want the $20 million homes exclusively. Like I'm not that girl. I think it's like my immigrant background that
explain more. Where are you from?
So I am from Brooklyn, but my mom and my dad are from Poland. They immigrated to America like in the late 80s. So I grew up in Brooklyn with my
also
parents.
An immigrant.
Yeah.
Grew
up with parents who didn't speak an ounce of English, and we kind of like learned through time more spent in the States. I learned how to speak English. My first language was actually Polish in America. I learned how to speak English when I went to elementary school, and that's when I like learned how to speak a new language. I mean, I grew up in Greenpoint, which was a very, very Polish community. So my parents always felt comfortable because like every neighbor was Polish. It was a very insular community. So I kind of grew up with like tons of immigrants in my neighborhood, who are just like chasing that American dream.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming part of the reason why you're so driven, I think it's like, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
how was that school experience for you though? That's especially middle school. That's like
That's a great question.
That's a hard
That's a great
moment in time to step into that type of environment.
So my elementary school was in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. It was 95% Polish kids.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Kid you not, PS 34. And then if you had good grades, you qualified to go to school in Manhattan, which I had good grades, and I got into a school on the Upper East Side. That was the biggest culture shock for me personally as a kid, because I grew up in like this very immigrant, first generation kids. Like we all like, live this kind of lifestyle, and like I always felt good and I always felt happy and comfortable with what we have. But then when I went to school on the Upper East Side, which like it was like literally the Gossip Girl,
I was just about to say,
movie. I'm like the Gossip Girl, what's her name? Jenny?
Yeah.
Jenny. Like I was like a real life Jenny. I always felt like not good enough. I felt not wealthy enough. I felt, like I didn't have the mom who was a news anchor. I didn't have the dad who was a banker. I didn't have these things. My school was on 76th Street. So it was just like prime Upper East Side.
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to wear like the Juicy Couture that every girl was wearing, or the speedy Louis Vuitton bag. Like, all these like things I remember specifically in middle school that were happening. So it was just like a big culture shock for me, to go from like my community and middle school, and then from going from elementary school and like living a certain lifestyle that I was always like so happy with, and then like going into this like across the river, to this other world. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm no longer like, am I good here?
Yeah.
So it was just like a big shift for me from elementary school to middle school, like the biggest.
How do you think that shaped you moving forward?
It definitely gave me that fuel to like really like work hard and persevere and like really like prove myself, because I was always comparing myself to my environment.
Yeah.
So I always like wanted to like get the good grades and get the good like work opportunity and get the good job. Like but it all stemmed from like middle school for me, because I saw this other world. And that was when it all like, that was literally like my fuel to the fire of like, I have to like do so much and prove so much, because, I came from such humble beginnings. And I still had like a lot to still like prove to myself, and like, I don't know, to like,
yeah, absolutely.
To Manhattan,
totally
to
makes
like,
sense.
to America, to like prove to my parents, like, hey, like, we could do more, and I want to do more.
Yeah.
So
do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a sister.
Older, younger?
Younger. Yeah, she's 6 years younger than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so a bit of age difference.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she learned from you then as well.
Yeah. I mean, she probably had the same experience as me. Less much so like Upper East Side, because Upper East Side is like a specific animal.
Yeah.
She had to take an exam to get into this particular school. It's called Nest. It's like a specialized school. So she was very smart, still is very smart. Let me correct this. But she had to take an exam to get into this school. Like it's, like one of the top 5 schools in the city that is public school. And, that was also a culture shock for her, like going to the school with like, all these kids with parents who are somebodies. And, so it was a adjustment for us.
You both went through it.
But a lot of like immigrants have, and first generation kids, because you go from, like being new to America and feeling you don't know if you like, I think first generation immigrants, like you don't know if you're like more of that immigrant or more of that like American. Like you're like in this like weird like divide, and you just don't know where you belong yet. And you're like still finding yourself. So I think like every first generation deals with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It just came to my mind. Like, I think the way I grew up in Brooklyn, I should have a different accent. But I speak the way I do is all thanks to like my experience in middle school, like shaped me to have like the particular voice that I do, because I was always like seeing the kids, or like I remember specifically like this one friend of mine in middle school, and his mother was a news anchor, and she would come to our field trips, and she like spoke so beautifully, and I'm like, oh my God, not only is she beautiful, and like, oh my gosh, she like speaks so beautifully. So I always like
you were emulating that.
I was emulating
like,
that.
I want to.
Yeah. So like when people like ask me like, you don't sound like you're from Brooklyn, and I'm like, but
On
my
purpose.
experiences have shaped me
that.
to like speak the way I do, you know, and also having parents who have like heavy accents. Like I always wanted to like just continue to like become better or fit into the mold of whatever in my mind I felt was right.
So I'm from South Africa.
Yeah.
And as
no
much
way.
as, you know, my parents spoke English, speak English, obviously, they had a really thick South African accent.
Yeah.
So I was around 3.5, 4, not 3, I guess, 3.5, when we moved to the States, and I had a little accent. And I started acting so young. They had to train it out of me.
Wow.
It's now the hardest accent for me to put on.
Wow.
Unless I'm in a room full of South Africans. Naturally, it comes out. But yeah, I think that was an interesting thing for me. I was so young, but looking back on that, it was like removing culture a little bit. And we are the only people like from our family. It's just my parents and I that live here. Everybody else, for the most part, is still in South Africa. So it's an interesting thing, and I can relate to that first generation side where I think there was a lot of pressure on it. My parents did so much to get here.
Totally.
Now what are you going to do with it? Right. Now I was able to start in an industry that I loved so young. Obviously, I didn't know what I was getting into when I was that age, but looking back on it, I understand. Yeah. And it's definitely not something to ever take for granted. Yeah. But that lifestyle of you do whatever you can, you work as hard as you can to build whatever you can. It's a very particular way of thinking. Yeah. And I do think a lot of us have that in common. But so cool. I mean, you were scrappy and finding it at such a young age to get what you want. Yeah. And you didn't, wait till you were an adult to find that. No. That was always there. No. Yeah. Which is a really cool skill that I think a lot of people don't have. Okay, so here's my thing. I'm very ambitious. I want to do so many different things. But I will say my flaw with that is that I procrastinate, which you wouldn't think that I would. But there are certain things in life that I completely put off and put off and put off. And I will say for the most part, up until this point, I've gotten away with it. And it's bad. Okay. I'm like good constantly trying to shift that. Yeah. Like the business things, I don't procrastinate. But like the personal life things, I'm like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I put it off and I put it off. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to reshape that. What is your like Achilles heel when it comes to that sort of thing? Do you have one?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I definitely procrastinate. I mean, I know I'm not perfect. There are definitely like certain flaws that I wish but it's nothing's coming to my head right now. I definitely procrastinate. Not with business. Like I'm always like sharp, type A. Like organized. If I need to get something done today, I will get it done in 2 hours. Like I'm just like always on top of those things. And if I'm not, I think like David has a good job at like my fiance, he has a good job on like pushing me to like, you need to take care of this. Like you have 2 hours, like, So I think like the push from him helps me when I'm like procrastinating or like getting a little slow.
My husband does that too.
Yeah. We're so lucky to have that. I need a little push.
It's so true. There are some things where I'm like, okay. Yeah. You're right.
I'd rather be pushed than not. So it's good. It's good to have that little push. Yeah. From your fiance.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I think that.
But I procrastinate for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Because you do, like, we have so much to do all the time, Like, how could you keep track of everything?
Can't.
Yeah. There's no
I think that's the hardest thing for me right now is that it's inevitable that something is being sacrificed. Of
course.
Part of the reason why we only had one kid because he's an amazing kid. Feel totally complete, health issues, all the things. But ultimately, that is a huge part of it is that, I want to give him the best childhood he can possibly have. And so when there's so much going on, there's always something sacrificed. And I never want it to be him. Yeah. But I mean, it's a good problem to have that you're booked and busy. And I'm so excited for you. Like it's
thank you.
Only up from here. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Believe it.
No, I do believe it. I'm just like, oh my God, we could still go higher.
Yeah. There's always something. I think that's the other thing about being so ambitious is that it's amazing to reach a goal, but you're always thinking
more.
about the next thing.
I know.
You know,
One is enough.
it's a good problem to have. We all should feel enough.
I know.
One of my co-founders, my co-CEO of my company, he was in a tech company before, Hippie Water, and Bob Iger sat on the board. And one of his coworkers asked him, "Hey, what like you've done so much in your career. Like what's next? Like what else are you excited about?" And apparently he kind of sat back and thought about it and was like, I don't know, done everything I want to do. I think he said, like, I want to go chill on my boat.
I like that.
And I'm like, I want to
yacht.
I don't know if I want to get to that point, to be fair, but like I want to get to the point where I'm considering, like, do I need to do anything else? I've been so ambitious. I've done so many things in my career. I'm so successful.
Yeah.
I think I just want to chill.
Yeah.
Like that's got to feel, that has
So
to be,
nice.
that's got to feel like a different type of achievement.
Like, I'm good. You know, all
Yeah.
I want to do is just chill.
Yeah.
That must be so nice.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I that's my goal. I want to get to the point where I can
You
just,
can just chill.
feel content enough to just be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to pat myself on the back and I'm just going to chill.
Chill and have some hippie water on your boat.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That is one thing that I've never wanted. I've never wanted a boat, never wanted a yacht. That's never been something that's interested me. I'm like, I can rent it if I want.
Yeah. But to own it, the maintenance, it's expensive to
They
maintain
say,
one.
that's the thing. They
say
say
it's
the
expensive.
best day is when you buy it and when you sell it.
Right.
There's a reason that's a saying.
Not a good investment.
Not a good investment. Well, on that note, thank you so much. You are welcome anytime. Anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that you came on the show. Anytime you're in LA, come see me.
Will do. By
And
that time, I'll be married for sure.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, it was
And
a
then we'll
pleasure
get to
be
hear
here.
about the wedding.
Say it again.
And then we'll get to hear about the wedding.
Yes, and then I'll tell you, like, you wouldn't believe that this happened. The dress didn't arrive on time.
I hope that does not happen for you. Knock on wood. I do not want that to be any bride's problem ever.
Literally.
Ever. It worked out for me. Don't want it to happen to anyone else. Hey,
I'll
there you
share my
go.
negatives.
Procrastinating. See?
See?
Everything else is planned except for that.
Yep.
Procrastinating.
Exactly.
But I'm really happy for you, and I'm so glad that we met in person.
Seriously.
So
About
many
time.
cool
I
things
heard
to
so much
happen.
about you through David. So.
And likewise.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Aw.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.